It may plus verb. It may rain later today. It may be too late to apologize. It may take a while to get there. It may be cheaper to buy in bulk. It may be too early to celebrate. It may be too late to make amends. It may be a good idea to set a goal. It may be too windy to go sailing. It may be too boring to sit through. It may be too hot to wear that outfit. It may be a good idea to be patient. It may be too emotional to handle. It may be a good idea to stay calm. It may be too difficult to do it alone. It may be faster to take the highway. It may be too late to make changes. It may be too late to fix the damage. It may be too dark to go for a walk. It may be too late to back out now. It may be too painful to talk about. It may be too late to catch the train. It may be too cold to go swimming. It may be too noisy to concentrate. It may be a good idea to plan ahead. It may be worth the effort to try again. It may be a good idea to take a break. It may be too complicated to explain. It may be a good idea to ask for help. It may be a good idea to bring a map. It may be too stressful to handle alone. It may be a good idea to seek therapy. It may be too soon to make a decision. It may not be safe to walk alone at night. It may be difficult to find a parking spot. It may be a good idea to simplify things. It may be too confusing to understand. It may be too late to change your mind. It may be a good idea to stay positive. It may be too risky to take that chance. It may be too early to tell if it's working. It may be a good idea to keep a journal. It may be too early to judge the situation. It may be too expensive to buy a new car. It may be too late to salvage the situation. It may be a good idea to have a clear plan. It may be a good idea to practice self-care. It may be a good idea to stay organized. It may be a good idea to let go of the past. It may be better to go early in the morning. It may be too loud to have a conversation. It may not be a good idea to eat too much. It may be too difficult to forgive and forget. It may not be a good idea to procrastinate. It may be too risky to invest in that company. It may be too early to predict the outcome. It may be a good idea to have a clear vision. It may be a good idea to ask for clarification. It may be too hot to stay outside for too long. It may be a good idea to have a backup plan. It may be a good idea to have a backup plan. It may be a good idea to budget your money. It may be too risky to go bungee jumping. It may be a good idea to face your fears. It may be too chaotic to make sense of it all. It may be a good idea to prioritize your tasks. It may be a good idea to practice mindfulness. It may be a good idea to do your research first. It may be a good idea to take a different route. It may be a good idea to find a quieter place. It may be a good idea to get a second opinion. It may be a good idea to focus on the present. It may be a good idea to dress appropriately. It may be a good idea to read the fine print. It may be too complicated to solve by yourself. It may be too cold to go outside without a coat. It may be a good idea to collaborate with others. It may be a good idea to have a positive attitude. It may be a good idea to have a support system. It may not be the right time to start a new project. It may be too late to change the course of events. It may be a good idea to learn from your mistakes. It may be too overwhelming to handle on your own. It may be a good idea to weigh the pros and cons. It may not be the best time to have a conversation. It may be a good time to invest in the stock market. It may be a good idea to have a contingency plan. It may be a good idea to check the weather forecast. It may be a good idea to take things one step at a time. It may be a good idea to take a deep breath and relax. It may be a good idea to seek help from a professional. It may be a good opportunity to learn something new. It may be a good idea to be open to new experiences. It may be better to sleep on it before making a decision. It may be a good idea to double-check the instructions. It may be too risky to invest all your money in one place. It may be a good idea to take a step back and reassess. It may be a good idea to take responsibility for your actions. It may be a good idea to prepare for the worst-case scenario. It may be a good idea to find ways to make it more interesting.